Yeah, thanks for being here. How about these kids? Just an amazing group. So proud and happy for them to see the fruits of their labor come to fruition, and just the journey. People always talk about the journey, and that's what it's all about. And to see their journey and this season, and just their growth and maturity, and how they've responded in some really tight spots. It's just it's why you coach. It's why you do what you do. But I just can't say enough about them, their teammates, my staff. Just really, it takes everybody, and for these kids to go out and do what they did, it just, I think it really speaks to who they are, their character, their toughness, something that I've not been shy about questioning at times. And I just think that they deserve all the credit. Man, they're really a unique and special group. I enjoy seeing them every day. They're a good group. They're a lot of fun to be around. We have some good ice cream parties night before games. And that's working for us right now, so we'll continue to do that. But just again, what can you say about them, man? They're really special, and I'm honored to be their coach, and I think we're all humbled to be in the position we're in. And obviously today's a special day. We'll enjoy it, and we've got more work ahead of us, and that'll be our next challenge. That's why you're at Texas, right? You're here to win championships, and you've got two more in front of you that are possibilities this season. So actually three, if you want to count the regional. So but they deserve today, y'all, and they're going to have their day today cutting down those nets. They deserve it.
Thank you, Coach. We'll take questions.
Coach, I know you were deferring credit, so you might not like this first question, but for the players, can you brag on Coach Schaefer a little bit and what kind of he did this year to keep you guys together through the injuries and all the adversity you guys went through?
I just really appreciate him as a coach, and I mean not only a coach but just a person. Well, like he said, with all the adversity that we've been through, it's been difficult to kind of look past it and understand what's still at stake and what still needs to be done. It's his commitment that makes you just want to hop along with him and take this very up and down, high and low journey that we've been through. And as players, you're kind of a reflection of your coach. Very much a reflection of Coach Schaefer. I'm starting to tell now, but he just has so much passion, and I think a lot of people are starting to notice that's just how we play the game, and whatever you put into the game is whatever you get out of it. So.
Yeah, I mean, to add on to that, it's my third year with him, and I just got my third ring, so that's I think that says a lot about him as a coach, and just always holding us accountable, even when we win games by large amounts. We talk about what we need to fix, and I think that really just speaks on him knowing what we're capable of and holding us to that standard all the time, even if we can play below that and still win some games. That's not what we're going after. So I just really appreciate that. He's constantly making us better, and I think that's why we make runs when we do, which is awesome. So.
When you took this job, do you have the timeline? I want to be contending for a conference championship by year 3 or whatever, and have you been able to live up to that timeline?
Well, I don't ever want to, handicap us or put a time frame on anything. It seems, Danny, the older I get, the more impatient I get, So, and for these kids, they have a 4-year career. And I don't think it's fair to, say, hey, let's get through the year, and, the best is in front of us and all that. I think, if you can do it, you can do it. And, You know, I've coached every team I've had here at Texas with the same passion and energy. I think Shay can attest to that. Rory now is in her second year. I think the standard's the standard, you know, and so I know we had a lot of work to do and still do, Danny. I mean, we have a lot of work to do. Shay's the only player here that was, you know, on that first team or in that first recruiting class that we were left with. And so we've rebuilt. Look at this year's team, 4 new starters, you know, and so it's or 3. Shay started the last 14, I guess, last year, and so her and Rory are our 2 returning starters, and Shay didn't start here until the last 6, similar to last year, and so, you know, the answer is I don't put a handicap or a timeline on us. I always want to try to win now, but I also know I know what the hurdles are, so to speak. And as a coach, I mean, you know what those look like, and so I don't know, Danny, if I've answered the question. If I lived up to it? I don't know. I know what the expectations are here at Texas, and that's to win championships. And look, I've told you about sitting in that room with all those head coaches, and you know, there's 19 of us, and you know, last year 10 teams finished national champions or second. We were in the Elite 8. That's not good enough for the top half here at the University of Texas. That's the standard. So I'm proud of these kids that you know, we're doing our part.
Coach, so in each of your first 2 years here, you mentioned the Elite 8 runs. You guys, as you got to the tournament, y'all were the hot team. Y'all were playing your best basketball at the end of the season. What do you have to see from this group? What do you want to see from this group in the Big 12 tournament that will assure you that this team is ready and on the verge of playing their best basketball at the end of this year?
Yeah, I just think it's the consistency piece. You know, we've got to consistently show up every day, practice the way we need to practice, and then play the way we're supposed to play. I think the reason we're not sitting here, you know, at 15 or 16, 17 wins is that inconsistency piece that just jumps up and gets us every now and then. And I think that's not uncommon for a team that has 6, 7 new players that are all in the rotation for the most part. So I think you know, our growing pains throughout the course of the season, when you look back, they've really kind of been, I think they've been almost minimal to navigate the schedule that we've had to navigate and have the success we've had. So, but I don't think we can sit here today going into the Big 12 tournament and say, yeah, we're playing our best basketball and we're rolling. You know, we still got the Big 12 tournament to try to navigate, and you know, whoever we get that first night, it'll be 2 teams that want to beat the crap out of Texas. You know, it's just the way it is. And then you got you know, if you're lucky enough to get through that, you got another monster the next day and another one after that. So I think my job right now is to manage this team this week, try to keep some momentum of how we're playing, and at the same time try to get better. You know, and I think that's kind of been the keys to our marches, is that my teams typically on February 1st, we don't just say, well, this is who we are and this is what we got and we got to just try to do the best we can. We evaluate on February 1st and say, hey, we got to get better. We got to keep working. We're going to still keep practicing and going hard. And by March 1st, we're saying the same thing. Okay, we're doing good here, but we got to fix this and this. And then we typically fix it and our teams get better. So I think that's the challenge for this team right now, and that'll happen if I can get a little leadership out of this group, a little accountability, and then our coaches are we're all gonna keep working.
Roy, you're kind of the coach on the floor during the games. What do you want to see from this group? Kind of going off what Coach was saying. What do you want to see on this group? From this group, what do you guys need to grow In what ways do you need to grow this week in the Big 12 tournament?
I think he said it perfectly. Basically, exactly what he said is probably what I would say too. But me being on the court is different than him not, and so a lot of it is just how are we gonna win? Like that's what I'm thinking. Like how are we gonna? What are the things that we need to do that we're good at to win? Because you don't do things during the game that like you're not good at. Like that's just not something you would do because that's not how you're gonna win. And I feel like being here at Texas, like he said, there's an expectation, and that's something that we do is we constantly play hard and we play with effort and we have energy. And I feel like everything else will fall in line. And I've seen like what this team is capable of. Like I could see like what we all are capable of during practice, like in the games that we were very successful in and had minimal mistakes. So we just need to work on meeting those needs and understanding that we need to find a way to be consistent. And like Coach Schaefer said, like just because we're today's today and we're getting very close and there's not that many games left, we still have a lot to improve. We can still improve on maybe the last day that we are going to play. Like there's something that we can find to improve on, and so yeah.
I'm sure Rory and Shay would rather be playing than practicing, but would you rather be playing or practicing this week and having a conference tournament, or would you rather have a week off to rest just with the way this tournament's set up?
Yeah, I can, I've had it both ways. And when you're playing well and you're hot, you want to keep playing. When you might have some injuries and you're trying to recover and recuperate and get rejuiced, you'd rather not be playing. And so I think I've seen both sides of it. There was a time when I was in the SEC and I'd say, man, I hate this 2-week layoff. I mean, I've said it. Then there's other times when I've gone, man, this is coming at a good time, and so I think there's benefits to both. This week we'll have pretty much the stage to ourselves as far as the Big 12 goes in their tournament. So, that's a benefit for our student athletes as well, and the ability to have national attention. So I get both sides, Danny, for sure.
For the players, Vic acknowledged it earlier. He said he did sometimes question just how tough this team could be or would be. I'm just kind of curious, how did that go over in the locker room? It could be deflating, but maybe it's galvanizing. And what and when do you think changed his mind about this team?
I mean, I don't think it was ever necessarily deflating because we know what we're capable of, and part of toughness is being consistent, and we were lacking in that piece, and still are working on it. So I think it was more just like looking in the mirror when he's like talking to us about that stuff, because he's always going to be honest with us, and just seeing like what you can personally do to help in that aspect. And I think we all have tried to improve our own game and our own toughness, and collectively that's helped a lot. But obviously there's still a lot of room for improvement. But yeah, just looking in the mirror, I think.
Yeah, basically what Shay said, just being accountable. That's what great coaches do. They tell you what you're not good at. And so it depends on like you and how you take it. Like, is that going to be the fuel to your fire, or are you going to let this hurt you and like say he's trying to hurt your feelings? Because he's not. He just wants the best out of everybody, and that it's almost a compliment because he knows that what we're capable of. He wouldn't say it if he didn't think we were capable of doing it.
Do great players have to hold their teammates accountable? You seem to be trying to do that.
I am trying to do it. Playing for Coach Schaefer, he loves his point guards to be able to have that leadership and be responsible for the team and make sure everybody's like held accountable, and keeping myself accountable. And he knows I'm pretty hard on myself, and so he just wants to make sure I'm just sharing that responsibility and making sure I'm holding everybody else accountable around me. And I feel like I'm trying to do that. I'm trying to hold up that part. I'm trying to make sure that I'm conversing with my teammates to help them understand, what's at stake. We're doing good right now. We're winning games. We're doing what we're supposed to. We just won a championship. we need to stay where we're at, but at the same time, we still need to focus on what we're doing wrong, because if we don't, we're not going to get any better. So.
Either Rory or Shay, obviously you both have known Vic for a while. Have you noticed a difference in him at all this year? Is he the same guy, or is he even more chill this year, more high-strung? And how has Vic been this year?
I would say the intensity level is the same. I mean, every year he wants to win, so that's what he's going to do what it takes to win. The passion's always there, the intensity's always there. I mean, I would say this team is like really close this year on and off the court, so he maybe doesn't have to worry about like so much chemistry issues or anything like that, so maybe more chill in that aspect. But like me, when it comes to X's and O's in basketball, I would say it's the same.
Basically what Shay said, he's very consistent himself, so, I mean, exactly what Shay said is what I would say.
For any of the three of you, you wrapped up a regular season here. I know you want to play more games in Moody. How different has it been? You know, the court's the same, the rim's the same as it was in Irwin, but you know, it feels so different from an outside perspective. How different was it for all of you guys?
Shay, you want to take that?
Sure. Yeah, it was a lot different. It was a lot of fun. I feel like we had a lot more fans. Even if it was the same number, it feels like a lot more in Moody just because Irwin was so big. Obviously, the drum was like historic and really cool to play at, and I'm glad I got that chance. But Moody is so awesome. We are really thankful and grateful that we have this facility, and just the fans that came out and supported every game and stayed afterwards and got our autographs. We just really appreciated that, and we felt like we actually had a real home court advantage this year. Like, I could kind of see on like the faces of the other team, like when the song's blaring for the game, like I feel like they're kind of like, oh gosh, like I felt like we kind of had that advantage this year, which just made it a lot more fun.
I've heard a lot of compliments from other players in the Big 12 talking about the Moody, so I think that means a lot too. That's really nice to say.
Rory, what did you learn about tournament play last year? Because Big 12 NCAA is a different kind of year. You took off last year. What did you kind of learn about the tournament?
I learned a lot. I mean, as a freshman, it was a lot being thrown at me at one time, and I felt like I learned how to keep my composure in like high stakes situations. I don't remember exactly, but I believe every single game that we played, especially I think we went overtime with Iowa State, right? And it was really close with Kansas State too, and obviously Baylor. I just think one of the things that I was really just trying to make sure I understood is that why we are doing what we're doing. There wasn't a championship won for a really long time for the Big 12 and for Texas. And just to see the look and focus, it was just Joe. It was Joanne for me. Alan Taylor, like, just to see how much he wanted it. And I was just like, I learned from her, like, why is this so important? And I think that's one of the key takeaways I took, and I'm going to probably take it as long as I'm playing here at Texas, is like what it means to like the university and not only the university but the people around you. But yeah, that was my big takeaway from all that.
Just for the players, I mean, winning this conference championship, just put that in perspective on what it means for the program in general going forward. I mean, it's been a long time, right? And it's been a long time that you know Baylor dominated this league for so long, but you are the ones holding the share of that trophy now this year. And just where do you think that takes Texas going forward?
Yeah, we've discussed that. We actually had like alumni night not that long ago, and just meeting all the former players and knowing how much talent has gone through here and like the tradition that they've built, and for it to still be so long that they've won, like that they haven't won a regular season championship, and like we were able to do that. Really humbling and like super honored to have that. And I think just trying to keep that like expectation and that standard super high for all of us and just for Texas women's basketball in general. But yeah, definitely really honored because so many amazing women have played here, and for us to have that win this year, super special. Yeah.
Coach, do you think the team has adapted well to all of the injuries and missing players, and do you think it's impressive how much success they've had with all of the adversity?
Well, there's no question it's impressive. You know, the season's unlike any that I've ever experienced as a head coach, and my heart goes out to those kids that have been affected by injuries, and we were fortunate enough to get Rory back. We got Taylor back after her extended period, and so you know, I'm just really proud of them that they've been able to navigate that, and I do think they've adapted. I think they've really developed a little bit of a toughness about them because of that. I mean, you know, last Sunday we lose Jock in the middle of a practice, and not realizing we're going to be without her Monday and then the following Saturday, and yet these kids responded, and you know, we didn't really have a whole lot of opportunity to kind of prepare for that quick turnaround on Monday with that happening, but I think by Saturday they had a real understanding of what we needed to do and how we needed to do it, and they went out and obviously executed that. So you know, I do think they've really developed a little bit of a I don't know, just a, hey, let's control what we can control type attitude, and that's what we've done. And you know, it's kind of, I've tried to convey that to them. I can't worry about, you know, I can't worry. There's certain things I can't control, and I can't put any energy into those things. Like my energy needs to be in them. Whoever's available, whoever can play, they deserve my best and my energy, and that's what I want them to do. Is devote their energy to the things that we can control. And you know, life's like that. You know, life's going to jump up and get you. It's how you respond in those situations that defines you as a person. When you become a parent, they define you as a parent, because your kids aren't going to always be perfect, or there's going to something come up with a spouse or family. It's in those times that it's how you respond. That's what it's all about for me. And when I look at this group and I walk in that locker room and I see them and I know what they've put into it, and to see the fruits of their labor come to be a championship in the Big 12, it brings joy to my heart, and it's why you do what you do in coaching. And I'm honored to be their coach, but I want them to, after today, I want them to know, okay, we've had our day in the sun now. We got to get back to work. We got a lot in front of us, and there's so much left to play for. And so that'll be the thought tomorrow. Today, I want them to enjoy it.
Thank you, everyone.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, I'd like to follow up with you about what Rory was saying about holding teammates accountable and stuff. It can't all just come from the coach. At some point, the players have to, you know, get after each other when it needs to be done. Just how did you see that unfolding with your team after what Rory kind of did over the last week or so, after that one game?
Yeah, talking about her and Taylor up here after the Baylor game. And again, you know, feelings and nerves are exposed immediately when you walk in here after a game like that. And so, one thing I've always learned, though, or I've always felt, whatever you say when you're emotional, it's usually the truth, you know. And that we were all three pretty emotional after that game. We felt very disappointed in our effort. And I think in Rory's case, you know, the standard that I hold her to, quite frankly, is probably a little different than everybody else on the team. Right, wrong, or indifferent, she gets the standard. And then if I can get her to live that standard, now we have a chance, because now she can be that person that can demand it from her teammates. Shay is always, Rory will tell you, she's always the same every day. You want to talk about consistency? Shay's consistent. Every day, every practice, every game. I know what I want to get from her. And I think she does a lot by her actions. She might not be that vocal person. Taylor's vocal, but Taylor hadn't been playing. You know, she's had her own issues this year with injury, so it's hard to jump in there and try to be that person when you've had your own share of issues and hadn't been able to play every game, and so you're kind of fighting to get back in it. So, but again, that's another person that it's hard to do it by yourself. You need 2 or 3 people that every day they're getting it done. And so I think with Rory and Shay and you know, a couple others, I think that's when you've got a chance. People talk about coach-led teams and they talk about player-led teams. You have to be careful with that, in that if you got a player-led team now, you got to make sure they're leading for the coach, not for themselves. You know, it sounds good, but you got to make sure that whoever's leading that team as a player is leading the way the coach wants them to lead. I said this the other night. Everybody talks about championships. Everybody does. First practice, first press conference, but no, you know, everybody talks about it, but not many people want to do what it takes to win one. That's the difference. This group, with everything that's been thrown at them, they did what it took to get it done. And that's what makes them special. So if they'll embrace that piece of, hey, we've been able to do this with all these things, and they can do anything. They really can. I mean, this group, you know, we lose Sonia. Potentially, you could have everybody back a year from now. And so there's a lot of, you know, you think about those things as well. So, you know, it's part of building a program. It's your culture. Everybody likes to talk about it, but what is it, you know? And these things that you're talking about are part of it. But it's really hard to do it by yourself. You need to have, you know, you need to have somebody with you at least, you know, more than one. And again, Rory plays the game extremely hard. Shay plays the game extremely hard. I mean, those kids, every night when the lights come on, that's not something I'm going to be worrying about. Are they going to play hard tonight? And as a coach, man, that's just one less thing you have to worry about with certain players. And when you can get about 8 of them like that, now you got a chance. Anything else? Good. Thank you. Man, I appreciate everybody being here. Praise the Lord, Longhorns.
Thank you.